I'm just starting my day today. Got a lot of beekeeping to do. The spring buildup is here and the bees are looking really good. And so I got some new boxes. I'm just trying to give the queens more space to lay here, but got to start the day getting some pine needles. So I'm at the park, pine trees, and get some pine needles so I can have some smoke, which is very important for beekeeping. So you can see I got my pine needles from the park and getting my smoker going. Smoke is so important because one of the things it does is it masks the bees' alarm pheromones, and so they can't communicate as well to tell each other to sting the guy coming in the colony. So it gives you enough time to get in, do what you need to do, and get out before the bees really get that alarm pheromone activated. Alright, so I'm here at one of our bee yards in Clearwater, Florida. It's just a residential lot. We got a area fenced off. And today I got a bunch of new Nuke boxes with frames, blank foundation. I overwintered some nucleus colonies here and they're really filling out, so I'm going to add a second Nuke box. One of the reasons I do that is here in the city I'm limited with horizontal space, and so I do a lot of my colonies vertical in 5-frame equipment, and that way I can keep more colonies in a small space like we have here. So here's what we got going at this bee yard. We got a bunch of nucleus colonies I overwintered, made splits in fall time on all this Brazilian pepper on this empty lot next to us. The bees were just really doing well here, and I actually share this yard with a buddy of mine. He has his bees on the left and I have mine on the right. Alright, so these colonies have been doing really good. As you can see, they're bringing pollen in right now, and these were about 2 frames of bees about 2 weeks ago, and then we had some nice warm weather. Nectar and pollen started coming in, and all these colonies just blew up with the spring buildup, and so they're ready to be put in more space. They're a little feisty this morning. We're gonna smoke them good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 2 frames from the bottom, bring them up to this new box on top, and then give them 2 blank foundations here on the bottom. And they will fill everything out pretty quickly with this spring nectar flow on. You can see this queen is laying really well, good brood pattern, and when they start doing this, it's amazing how quickly the population can explode in these colonies. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting 2 blank ones in between the full ones. We call it checkerboarding, and once you put that right in the middle of the brood nest, they want to fill it in with brood, and it just is a great way during the build-up times of year to get your colony to fill in all the frames. And I'm doing pretty much the same here but on the top box, but with the pattern opposite. I got 3 blank here with 2 drawn out brood right there, and then 2 blank right here. And I'm actually gonna give these bees a little assistance by putting half a pollen patty, and this just has the protein that they need to raise brood. So with that added protein, they're going to really be wanting to make more bees, and that's what we're looking for right now. It's just we want to make a lot of bees so we can make our spring splits. And there it is, we got 1 done. And we're going to go through all these singles, and any one that's about full, we're going to put a box on top and give them more room to build up and turn these into production colonies this year. We got this yard all done. Got double boxes added onto all these nucleus colonies. Now we're off to the next yard in St. Petersburg. We are here at our Great Bay Bee Yard. Budweiser is so kind to Aspinall's Beekeepers Association to keep bees out on their property. And it looks like Roger's out here. Roger bought couple nucleus colonies from me last year, so we'll get to see how they're doing as well. Checking some of these double deeps. I added a second deep on these colonies last week, see if the queens are up on the second story, and sure enough, here's a queen. First frame I pulled out, laying good. A little spotty, but not too bad. The brood pattern. So there she is. That's the queen that makes all these other bees in the colony. On these colonies, I just added these double brood boxes, these second ones up here last week, and these bees are really building up quick. As you can see, they've already moved up here, probably already have brood going. Here in the second one, let's give it a look. And what I'm trying to do right now, it's kind of the middle of February here, spring buildup is happening. I'm just focused on building bees because beginning of March I'm going to be making all my splits, so I want as many frames of brood as I can get here. And so I'm just giving these queens, they're wanting to lay, I'm giving them as much room as they can lay in. And today I'm out here, I just got some pollen patties. I'm putting half a pollen patty between these deeps so that these bees just have all the protein they need to raise a lot of brood. The more pollen or pollen substitute they have, the more bees they're going to raise. So that's what I'm up to today. I'm just going to take this, give them a little smoke, just to move the bees out of the way. Put the pollen patty on there, close it up. Well, that's about it for this yard here at Great Bay. We got pollen patties on all of these double deep colonies, and also the nucleus colonies that were looking good. We got a double second nuke box on them, and so now I'm seeing a lot of drone cells. I've already seen a few swarm cells getting started here this season, and so I'm gonna bait up a swarm trap that's been sitting on this fence line all year. I got a little swarm commander. This stuff works really well for attracting swarms, have really good success. And kind of what we do with our bee yards, we'll put a swarm trap pretty much every yard. That way, if any of our bees swarm, most likely they're gonna go into that trap, and we don't lose our bees, we don't lose half the bees in the colony, and we don't have them flying into somebody else's property and being a nuisance for them. And so we try to avoid swarming if possible. Once in a while that doesn't happen, and so it's a great idea to keep swarm traps up at your bee yards. Here's one of our swarm traps. We're just going to give it a little bit of swarm commander there at the entrance, and that way hopefully if we have a swarm come off of our hives over here, they fly into the swarm trap rather than into the building over there, which wouldn't be as great. All right, so we got the Clearwater yard taken care of, and this yard here at Great Bay. And so now we're gonna head down to South Pasadena. I got a bee yard in my sister's backyard and got a bunch of nucleus colonies, kind of the same deal as Clearwater yard. I made splits in the fall time on the Brazilian pepper, and they're starting to build up here in the springtime, and so we're gonna see if they need some extra boxes as well. So you ever make those decisions, you know they're bad decisions, and after you make it you're like, why'd I do that? And then you just keep making that same bad decision over and over in life. There's one case of that, at least one case of that in my life, where I'm starting to get hungry now. I don't feel like going home and making food because I gotta check some more bee yards, and there's a Taco Bell right up here on the right, and so I think I'm gonna go ahead and make another bad decision. Every time I go there I regret it, but you know, I am wearing just a bee jacket, not a full suit, and you can get away with eating Taco Bell wearing a bee jacket. If you're wearing a full suit, you definitely don't want to eat Taco Bell while you're beekeeping, because you're gonna be farting in that suit, you're gonna trap it all in there, and basically torture yourself. So a little bit of advice: if you're beekeeping, wearing a full bee suit, don't eat Taco Bell. I like wearing a bee jacket. I can get away with it.
Hold on, we're gonna talk about for a second. I'm gonna look at this menu and I'll be right with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, order when you're ready.
Hi, can I get a number 2 with a Pepsi, please?
Okay.
And I'll do it.
Okay, would you like to try a cinnamon twist any type of dessert for $1 today?
No, thanks.
Okay, 706, please go forward.
Thanks. Very fitting, getting a number 2 at Taco Bell. So we're almost to my sister's house, and as you can see on the right, the mango trees are in full bloom right now, and so the bees are working them. That's an early source of pollen and nectar for them to be able to build up in the springtime here. All right, so here's my yard in Pasadena. Check out these bees. Will get suited up and add some boxes where needed. All right, let's see what we got going on here. This first colony. So they definitely got some more building to do before we add another box. We're just gonna see, make sure we got a queen that's laying in here, see what's going on. Come around this side. We do have some brood, not looking real great. A lot of these queens got mated in the fall, and some of them just didn't seem to get mated that well and aren't laying that well, so we're gonna have to requeen some of these colonies here when we get queens next month. Now this colony is looking a little better. This was just empty foundation, new foundation I put in last week, and as you can see inside of there, this queen's already laying eggs. They're drawing it out. She's laying eggs. This box actually starting to fill in quite nicely, so that's encouraging. These first 2 boxes weren't looking too great, this yard. It's I don't know, one of those yards, the first year I got it, the bees did great here. The last 2 years, just, they haven't done as well as my other yards. So we'll give it another year and see how they do this year. All right, it took us about 5 boxes in, but finally found one that's ready for a second box. And it just seems like this yard's behind all my other yards. Few of these colonies are really strong, but most of them just kind of struggled this winter. And I think a lot of it is most of these bees here really build up in the fall on the Brazilian pepper. And out here kind of near the beaches, the pepper got hit pretty hard by Irma, and then a lot of it actually got cut down and cleared as people were cleaning up after Irma. And so it just seems like the nectar, the fall nectar source hasn't been too great for these bees out here at this yard. Well, this yard just wasn't looking nearly as good as the other yards, but that's beekeeping. Some places don't do as well as others. Hopefully in a couple weeks they'll have caught up and be ready to put some extra boxes on, but for now most of them I just gave a little bit of pollen substitute to help them build up, and I think 3 of them I added boxes on. So we'll see how this yard does this year. Well, that's about it for beekeeping today. Glad you could come along with us. I am Josh Harris along with my wife Rebecca. We run Queen and Colony Bee Company here in Tampa Bay, Florida. And we want to release one of these videos about once a week and just show everyone what goes on behind the scenes with our urban beekeeping operation here in Tampa Bay, Florida. We would really appreciate it if you subscribe to our channel, and we are looking forward to having you join us on this journey and this adventure that we're taking.